Hello, everyone, and welcome to Economics and You. I am your host, Mr. Samuelson. Today, we're going to be looking at special savings plan with a special focus early on retirement and how to prepare for it. All right, so investing for retirement. It's important that we know before we get into these other plans that in the United States, most people do qualify for a government pension. We call this Social Security. So most people, when they retire, will have government money coming toward them to support them through the old age. It's also important that we know that Social Security doesn't provide enough money for most people to live very comfortably. This is meant to keep you out of extreme poverty, not to make your life comfortable. But if you want to really enjoy your golden years, living into your 70s and 80s, and still having enough money to go out and really enjoy those years that you have left, you might want to consider other retirement plans. Now, some of you may wind up working in a company or a business that is going to do a lot of this for you. Some companies, although increasingly few, provide a company pension. This is usually in the form of a 401k, and in this, employees can contribute to their own retirement, and many companies will match those employee contributions. So if an employee puts in $2,000, the company puts in $2,000 as well to match you. And this helps build a nice, good nest egg for you for retirement. But not everybody has that option. IRAs and Roth IRAs are a better way to go for most people who don't have those other retirement options through their employer. An IRA is an individual retirement account, and people can contribute up to $5,000 per year of their money into an IRA. Now, this money is deducted from your income. So if you made $60,000, you basically report 55 and you get taxed for 55,000, not 60. You subtract those 5,000. But then you have to pay taxes on that 5,000 when you withdraw that money at retirement. So you delay your taxes when you're younger to pay them when you're older. A Roth IRA is a similar idea, except for you don't deduct it from your income. So if you made $60,000, you would pay taxes on $60,000, even though those $5,000, you're not going to touch that until you retire. But when you retire, then it's not taxed. Whether or not you want to go with a IRA or a Roth IRA is going to depend on what you think your tax rates are going to be now compared into the future. If you think you're making more money now than you will be when you're withdrawing money from a retirement account in the future, then you want to go with a traditional. Okay, that's to say your income is high now and it'll be low later, go with your traditional. But if you think your income is lower now, and then as you get older, you're going to increase your income, and when you're pulling on that retirement fund, you're actually going to be pulling on a lot of money, you want to go with a Roth IRA. So it's just a matter of where are you going to be more wealthy. And this can change over time. You want to put some money into an IRA when you're younger and into a Roth IRA when you're older. Sorry, you'd want to flip those and do it the other way around. But you want to look at where you currently are. All right, real estate investment. Real estate investment is something that most of you will dabble in at some point in your life, because buying a home is usually a good investment. Now, this doesn't have to be a traditional house. It can be a condominium. In some places, you can purchase apartments. But buying one of these is usually good. This is because home prices usually rise over time. Now, we're not talking about making a lot of money from 1 year to the next. A home is not usually a 1 year or a 3-year investment. Homes are usually something that you're going to live in for 10 or 20 or 40 years. And over the course of that time, the value of that home will increase, and you have the added benefit of being able to live there and therefore not pay rent. It is important to know, however, that markets can fall, and there are certainly people who have lost a lot of money in home investments. Now, homes are not easily turned into cash on short notice. So you should always factor that in as well. This is not a savings deposit. This is not a money market account. This isn't even a CD where you can get their money out quickly, but you pay a small penalty. Homes are long-term investments. You should never buy a home thinking that you're going to sell it within 3 years, unless you are buying that home not to specifically live in it, but just to buy it, fix it up, and then sell it at a profit. Now, land real estate, that is just buying empty land, is usually riskier than buildings. There will be some people who speculate on land. They believe that an investor is going to come in and turn a whole bunch of farmland into a new civic center or a new set of homes. But you never know that that's going to happen. So it's a risky proposition to purchase land real estate. But when you do make the right call and you do buy that farmland that then later gets turned into a housing complex, you can make a lot of money on it. All right, saving versus investing. So we've talked in this series of lessons about our basic savings plans, our savings account, money market accounts, our CODs, certificates of deposit, our CDs, as having slow growth, especially in your savings accounts, money market accounts. Your CDs can have kind of a moderate growth rate. And we've also talked about investing in stocks, bonds, real estate. These have higher risk, but also higher rewards. So when do we do it? How do we decide how much of our savings gets invested? How much of our savings stays in these safer places? How do we figure that out? Well, larger risks do allow for larger rewards. So we always have to keep that in mind. And at some point in your life, you're going to want to make these risks. You're going to want to go for the big gains because this could potentially set you up for a much more comfortable life. Younger investors in particular can afford more of these risks. So when you're fresh out of college and you've got yourself, a nice job with a little bit of money, take risks and keep taking those risks up into your mid to late 30s. You can afford to take a lot of risk with your money at that time because you've got a long life and a long career ahead of you to make up any serious losses that you may incur. But as you get closer to retirement, you want to make sure that you're becoming less risky with those investments and angling yourself more toward your money market accounts and your CDs. All right, diversification. No matter where you're at, young or old, you always want to diversify. You always want to have a little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit in our risks. Those with little income, however, do want to be safe. If you're working a minimum wage or a minimum wage plus job and you're bringing in like $20,000, $22,000 a year, you don't have a lot of money to play with. Once you get past your basic living expenses, you've got very little. Okay, so the first thing you need to do is you need to grow that into a larger pool of money that you can then play with and you can then take serious risks with. A good way to do this is buying government bonds. You buy a few 1 year, 2 year, 5 year bonds, get a decent return back on those government bonds, and now you've got a little bit more money to play with. With larger income then, or large savings, either way, you get the better job that's now paying you $50,000, or you've managed your low yield bonds for a number of years, and now you've got a good savings account. Now you can try the riskier stuff. Now you can go for stocks. And going into the stock market in your late 20s through mid 30s is a good advisable thing to do. Just make sure it's not the only thing you're doing. You also want to be putting money into those retirement accounts. You also want to be putting some money into safer bets. Don't risk everything on stocks. It's foolish. Now, mutual funds are, of course, collections of stocks. If you want to go into the stock market, those are a safer bet. And they're really a good option both when you're young and when you're a little bit older. So long as you're not, right on the cusp of retirement, having some money into mutual funds is a good idea. CDs are kind of on the opposite end of that. It's a little bit safer, but also a solid investment, and a solid investment at nearly any point in your life. It's going to be safe. It's going to give you that nice return on your money, but just keep in mind with the CD, these are time deposits. You're not going to get that money back in the case of an emergency. So you can't put all of your money into CDs. You have to have some that you can get instant access to. So really, no matter at what point you are in life, you want to diversify, but when you're younger, go for more of the risky items. Go for the stocks. When you're a little bit older, you can still have some mutual funds in your portfolio, but now you want to be on CDs, you want to be on treasury bills, you want to be in money market accounts. All right. Well, I hope you learned something today. I certainly had fun with this lesson, and farewell.